Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this Tuesday morning. We've got a great show lined up. But first, our weather is always brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. We're looking at another hot day, but before we get into the air temperature, let's look at the water temperature first. How about 89.1, the Gulf water temperature from the Noah buoy. Now that's as hot as it's been all year, and it sort of attributes to this red tide, which we're going to talk about later in the show, the red tide factor that we're beginning to experience here. 89.1, the Gulf water temperature. So, it dropped some about a week and a half ago, dropped down to like 83, but that's a 6-degree rise in a week and a half, so it is a really strong current. Now, our river readings brought to us, not brought to us by anybody right now, Apalachicola to Bluntstown. By the way, that's opening if y'all want to advertise. Apalachicola to Bluntstown, an even 3 foot. An even 3 foot. That's the lowest it has been in a very long time. When the river's 3 foot in late summer, we're looking at a strong situation there for some good fishing just as soon as it cools down. The Choctaw at Caryville is at a 4.3. Both rivers, not much movement. Look like it'll be steady all week long. The tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Today is the 18th of September. Great tides. We've got a great falling tide. It was high this morning right around 4 o'clock, and it's going to be low this afternoon at 3:30. A strong falling tide and a lot of movement in there. Our marine forecast is west-southwest at about 7. Now, the big news as far as seasons and all, this coming Saturday, September 22nd, will be the first official day of fall. Our fall equinox falls always on September 22nd. It will be Saturday of this year. So that's always a good sign. Everything's going to start happening a little bit. It won't be quick and all, but we're going to start seeing some cool snaps pretty soon. I can't tell you when. I'm going to keep that a secret, but we're going to start seeing a little bit of cool mornings before too much longer. Let's take a break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Let's start with some pictures. I always like to start this segment most mornings with some pictures and all this. We have guests, but one of the big things y'all are so good about sending pictures, and I pick up some off my Facebook, all my friends and all, and I filter all of them, but most they're all good and all. But every now and then I run across about 99%. I know the people, or people have sent it to me. That 1%, I just sort of pick it up at random. And this is one of those at random. I don't know who these boys are right here, but this way called Redneck Ingenuity. It's been on social media most of last week, and I was going to show it when it first came out, but I didn't. So I had to look at it because that could be anywhere from Southport to Callaway to Telogia to Bonifay, any of these little towns with this mentality of making sure you get that boat in the water some way. So that's just really humorous to me. All right, next picture, my cousin, Jerry Baker. Nice day at Mexico Beach. A nice speckled trout from the pier, and this Tracy's wife, Mom Linda, enjoyed the view from the pier. That's Mexico Beach right there, and that is a fine trout right there. All right, Brent Almo Edwards. Remember we had him on the show last week. He was talking about those big old mahi that he was catching, and here it is right here. I told you how to show a picture this week. He really got some nice mahu and some nice grouper that day. And remember, he was talking about he had that app to get that water clarity and all. That was interesting. I'm not that familiar with that app, but the offshore guys, if you're not familiar with it, they're always looking for that clear, clean water right at the breaking point, especially for bill fish and all. All right, one of my former students, April Kimmel, in my class, but now her married name, April Kimmel Vaughn. Silly boys, grouper fishing is for girls. And a big old smile. And April, when she was in my class, she's just a good outdoor girl, a happy girl. She is a physician's assistant now, PA. And I'm glad to see that she is still enjoying the great outdoors. All right, now this is serious right here. David Rich, y'all know Rich's IGA, down there in Weewall. First of all, you know the family and all. They've been there a long time. A good family, a good solid family. They got a grocery store. They supply a lot of good food and groceries and all at a grocery store, but they also do a lot for the community, and always have. The family always have. And they have these cookers. And he had a couple of cookers. This was stolen from his storage unit out there close to the grocery store. All right, 250-gallon propane tank. It's got 2 fireboxes. See the fireboxes on each end? Had fresh paint, black in color, 2 doors on the other side that open up. Missing from Rich's IGA Shopping Center in Weewall, offering a nice reward for a safe return and the rest of individuals who took my grill. Now that's a low life to take somebody's grill. Stealing is bad, but to take somebody's grill, and most of the time they're doing, a lot of times those grills are used as fundraisers, doing stuff for the community and all, and then somebody just came in there and hooked it up. So let's try to catch this low life that did this, and I'm sure you can't hide it too much, and you wouldn't want to put that in the backyard, but also they're probably maybe trying to sell it. So if you know anything, get hold of David Rich. They're Rich's IGA there in Weewall, okay? And let's see, I think that takes care of the pictures. One thing also, on that grill, a lot of times a thief will take something like that, and then they'll sort of lay low for a while, and then they're going to try to sell it. And a lot of times they're going to try to sell it a little bit out of town, but some people, their IQ is not really high, so out of town to them will be like Panama City. So that's why we want to spread the word, to be looking out for somebody selling a cheap grill. And it's not a, I think about, I can't get over all the good things people do with those things, and then somebody go in and steal it. A lot of well, anyway, it just gets on my nerves. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Let's talk about the red tide. I don't want to talk about negative stuff on the show, but this is reality as far as negative stuff, and this is something that we've all been seeing. What I want to start with first, I'm going to show you some video our viewers have sent offshore. I know you've seen all the pictures from the other stations and all on a lot of dead fish on shore, but this is some exclusively from our viewers. Ken Paramore sent this, and I'm just going to let it run. Ken, okay, here we go right here. All right, you can see, now this is redfish. These big fish you're asking, this is a tide line of a lot of redfish. Look at them, they pile up. Look at all these bull reds. Okay, and Ken is out there the other day, just a couple days ago, and he took this video. It's a sick, and look how close he is to shore. You see where he is. Okay, and all right, there. I'm going to let it run twice, and then basically so you see it. Okay, but all the bait fish and all the redfish. Now, that is close to shore. That was Ken's right now. So I'm going to now I'm going to switch over to. I got another one from Jimmy Lumley. Let's see if I can get this one going right here. Let's see. All right, Jimmy Lumley sent this. He was offshore yesterday. Or let's say this was Sunday afternoon, or you can see the same story out there. He's a little bit further. He's about 3 miles offshore, and he's talking about here about you can see the there's a big one right there, big old redfish right there, and then he's coming on in. There's some more. There's another big redfish. All this is from the red tide now, and then it gets a wad of them up here, and the big thing about it. You're not seeing all of them. This is just a very small portion. A lot of little bait fish, and then those big bull reds. Most of those reds are, you can see, even out there further, I don't know if you pick it up on the screen right there, you can see another group of them over there. So this is exclusive video sent by our viewers. I wanted some action shots, and there's another group right there. Okay, so you can see. I'm gonna read what Jimmy. Here's what he said. A tide line. This is a tide line 3 miles out. There's 30 to 40 inch redfish everywhere. Eels and menhaden. Okay. No dead reef fish. This is interesting now. No dead reef fish like snapper or grouper, and no flounder. And all of it was fresh killed and all. So. The red tide is for real, and it's really affecting a lot of people, a lot of fish. Now, the big thing on, see, I got it up there now. Also, while I'm at here, let me go and show you some of the other pictures sent in by the viewers on the fish kills. Okay, here's a picture right here. Okay, you can see how close it does. Some of the same video. It looks like the picture that Ken sent or the video, but look at the size of the fish and all. And then here's a close-up of. See how close they are to shore. So you can see the menhaden in there. And here's a good picture here. This is a color. You can see it doesn't cover the whole Gulf. It comes in like splotches, like a big wad of it. And you can see that reddish color. That's where it gets the name red tide. And you can see where the water discoloration is. This is sort of what it looks like. Here's a better. Well, that's a better picture there. But anyway, you can see and that itself. All those redfish that came through the pass. Okay, here's a picture a viewer sent of all of them. This is down toward Crooked Island Sound, which I hate to see. Here's another picture of it going out. You can see even out further in the Gulf how the red tide affects that. And looking at it just in depth. Okay, and that's one more fish kill there. That's Laguna Beach, right there in our backyard. All right, then, okay, another thing I want to talk about, I looked up some information on it, and this is fascinating as far as all the information we have and don't have. Okay. One of the good things is CCA and Duke Energy have already come into an agreement. They're going to release 10,000 redfish fingerlings from their little nursery and like 200 adults in the southwest Florida area. They're not going to release them right now. They're going to try to regenerate the population because the fish kill down there, it sort of dwarfs what ours is up here. I mean, they're having a huge, it's been going on all summer. Ours is just coming in. So that's the good news where the CCA and Duke Energy were doing that, but they're waiting for it to be all clear before they start doing it. So I've got some questions and answers. I tried to do some in-depth research last night. I'm just going to read some questions and answers because I could do a 30-minute show on it. I'm trying to hold it about 7 or 8 minutes, okay? We know what red tide is, an algae bloom, make it simple. Then it goes on when. The history of it is that they're asking is it new. Historically, it goes back, they find even as far back to Spanish days, the 1700s, 1800s, they found evidence of fish kills caused by the red tide, so it's naturally occurring. Okay, how long do they last is a question. Red tides can last as little as a few weeks or can last as long as a year. So that's important that we understand that. We're hopefully always hoping for a small outbreak, but we really have no control on it. Do they occur anywhere else? Mainly they're all over the world, but of course we're just concerned here. Are they found up in the estuaries, in the bays or freshwater system? The more fresh water you have, the less chance of having red tide. You don't get a lot of it up in the Apalachicola Bay system. You'll get it up in different places. What's really concerning me now, I'm upset. We're all upset about the fish kills we're having here, but while we're all are just having our fingers and saying our prayers on it, just hopefully it does not get back up into St. Joe Bay like it did in 2015, because right now we're at the beginning stages of the scallop spawning. Okay, late September they're going to spawn like in November. Some of them start in October, and if it gets up in there, it's going to do like it did in 20. It's going to wipe them out. And it's really, I mean, it's going to be a huge natural disaster again with the scallop population if it gets up in the St. Joe Bay. You wish they had some kind of screening where they could just screen the water out like they did for the oil spill and just keep that water out. But again, that's the drawback of a bay system not having fresh water and washing it out. And on that redfish kill, I kept up with this, and about 2 weeks ago, one of the captains was out, and he got back in. He sent out a text that he just saw a couple of dead fish out there. That was the beginning of that fish kill about 2 weeks ago. He only saw like 4 or 5, but he said that's not a good sign. And sure enough, it just kept going up. Now, what happened on redfish kill? The tide came in, a real strong tide came in last week. Remember, we had some strong tides that came in. And it just killed those big old redfish that were hanging around the rocks and the jetties. That's where those redfish came. So when the tide came back out, they washed them out with a tide line. That was that big old school of redfish. They always hang around the jetties, always up in there at different levels and all. And that's what happened. Now, can we predict where it will occur? No, we cannot predict it. It occurs naturally. Okay. Are they harmful? Yes. Your respiratory system is bad. The big question is coastal pollution caused the Florida red tide. That's a big $64 question throughout Florida. Now, red tide occurs offshore about 10 to 20 miles, and then it will come inshore. And when it comes inshore, that's when it can be exacerbated by more pollution or runoff and all. And that's why they're fussing about in South Florida that all the sugarcane, all that runoff, agricultural runoff, is making it a lot worse. Whether it is or not, that's a scientific, and you get scientists on both sides. Whoever's being paid the most, I think, is coming out with an opinion. I personally don't know, but we do know it occurs offshore and it comes inshore, and it comes in an eastward south. This one we have right here is moving in an eastern southeastern motion, which is headed towards St. Joe Bay, I'm afraid. Well, I did talk to some people in Mexico Beach. They are starting to see, yesterday afternoon, started to see some dead fish around Mexico Beach. How do you control them? No way. Okay, is it safe to swim? They're saying that the experts are saying swimming is safe for most people. Okay, is it okay to eat? Is it okay to eat them? Now, here's what I found on it. Is it okay to eat local finfish? Yes, it is safe to eat local finfish if they're filleted before eating, because the red tide is in the guts and all. So but it doesn't really get up into the meat itself. But they don't recommend picking up these dead fish and eating them. Okay, toxins will accumulate mainly in the guts. Does cooking or freezing destroy? Now this fascinated me because usually you cook something in hot grease at 350, it's going to destroy it. The scientists say no, cooking or freezing does not destroy the red tide toxin. So how about that? And okay, so does it affect your pets? Only if they're going to be eating fish and all. Hopefully you're not going to let your dog eat the dead fish and all. All right, let's take our break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Let's look at our fishing game time today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers. We're looking at 7:48 to 9:48 this morning, and this evening from 8:12 to 10:12. So let's talk about something positive and something fun. That's the thing about outdoors. You have some bad things happen like red tide, but you always got something to look forward to. Like, how about dove season opening up this weekend and duck season opening up this weekend? Is that not exciting? Before getting to that, I do want to mention this. I talked to Travis yesterday. He came by the house for a few minutes and talking on some things. And one of the things he reminded me that I asked him, what's going on? What are they looking out for now? And it comes up. Well, Coach, he said the palmetto berries, those saw palmetto berries, they're out there, getting those this time of year. Remember, we talked about that the last couple of years, how people trespass on people's land and get those little berries, steal them, and put them in 5-gallon buckets and try to hide, and then somebody picks them up. So if you see anybody out there stealing the berries, give FWC a call. Now let's talk about some fun things. I looked this up. 10 dove shoot this weekend. 10 tips for better dove hunting, and I agree with most of these. Some I'll question, but one thing. Let's look at number one. Open the choke. Now, most of us by now pretty well have our choke figured out, our guns figured out, but with a young person, explain to them what an improved cylinder, modified cylinder, and a full choke. Most young people have no clue what that does, about how it spreads out and how it stays together on a full choke. So spread, help people out, young people, on the choke and all, but make sure you understand the choke. Number two, I don't really agree with this one. These people are talking about upsize your pellets. Most people use a 7.5 or 8 ounce. That's what I use. I use a 7.5 or 8, but they're saying to drop down to 4, 5, and 6s. I don't really agree with that. You can hit a dove with a 4-shot, you're going to obliterate them. I mean, you may get 1 or 2 more, but you're going to obliterate the meat and all. So anyway, some of these are good tips though. Okay, now exaggerate your lead. This is something that comes from experience. You do want to, you're not going to be able to measure it, and the dove's not going to fly that straight line, but just make sure you understand that you get a good lead, and most people when they shoot a flying bird are going to shoot behind it. The missed shots, 4 out of 5 times they were shooting behind them, especially inexperienced shooters. So make sure you get a good lead on that bird. Okay. Number 4, stay flat-footed, and I didn't know there's any other way you could shoot, but it says stay flat-footed. Number 5, focus on the gun mount. Make sure you mount the gun correctly, and that's something to be said about that. About when you press it up against your shoulder, it should be automatic, and you have a feel. But sometimes if you're in a hurry, you may place it down here or something, and you can. I understand on that what they're talking about. And number 6, shoot while sitting. And most of our shots are, we're sitting out there in the field and shooting them anyway. So you want to be comfortable out there in that dove field, and you want to try to get in the shade, especially this weekend. You want to try to get in the shade. Okay, number 7, when they're going away from you now, they're going to dart and dip and things like that. So they're recommending here that they really sort of use a front lead to catch to it, and it means you actually aim a few inches below the bird. But I don't know about that. It seems like when they fly away from me, they're always sort of getting up in the air. Number 8, okay, when a big group of them, when a big group of birds coming at you, you always, like 4 or 5, you always pick out that one. It doesn't matter if it's the lead one, the middle, whatever one you feel comfortable shooting, but yeah, concentrate on that one, and then after you get him, then look at the closest one, and that just comes from experience. You'll get one at a time. Don't try to shoot into the whole wad of them. And okay, number 9, if they're coming in, that's some of my favorite shots. A lot of times they're going to flare, what they call flare on you, and they're going to be spooked at you. Okay, move on. Number 10, try decoys. And like right here, folks, I've loved dove decoys. Okay, I get a kick out of our buddy Stan Kirkland. Stan has hand-carved decoys. He's carved his own decoys, and he enjoys dove shootings and all. But this has a little clip here. You can clip on something. It also has a loop right here. You can put a string through it and hold it. So these are very decoys are very strong. Duck hunting or dove. Most people don't use them in dove shooting. This is just a pair. You need like 5 or 6 of them. And I like to put them out in the field itself. Okay. So just be aware of all kinds of things you can do as you get ready for your dove season, okay? We've got to wrap it up today. Enjoy doing the show. I appreciate y'all watching. Do something good today for your fellow man. Have a great day. Enjoy the outdoors, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.